Well, good morning and welcome to the Grow Omaha Show. I'm Jeff Beals, your co-host, broadcasting live from the KFAB Penthouse Studio, high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee. This is the only show you're going to find that talks about the growth and development of your favorite city. It's brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who I like to affectionately call the legendary real estate deal maker in the flesh, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff is happy to provide that visual for you guys.
Happy to provide that visual for you guys. Yeah, at any rate, we've got some big news, Trenton. We are going to launch a new Grow Omaha feature on Thursday. That'll be June 2nd. And it's going to be called Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah. Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen. So we're going to be doing restaurant reviews. A lot of people will remember Sarah from when she was the food critic and restaurant reviewer for the Omaha World Herald. And people know that we love covering restaurant news and food news here on Grow Omaha. So it's a natural combination. And so about once every 2 weeks, Sarah will be writing a review for us. It's going to be called Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen. It's going to appear in our Thursday newsletter, which comes out every Thursday afternoon, and it'll also appear on the growomaha.com website. But Trenton, there has been a lack of good restaurant reviews in Omaha, ever since Sarah stopped writing for the World Herald. Now this partnership is bringing it back.
And if you can't picture Sarah, that's probably because she was a food critic and she's incognito. We go out there, she goes out there, and collectively, we pay for the meals, and she does it right, very ethically and objectively, and she's got the expertise, the culinary background, and we are very excited. But she has a blog, and if you can just Google Sarah Baker Hansen, you can really get an idea of what she's all about. She does a really cool thing. She does the burger bracket and the pizza bracket during the March Madness.
Oh, yeah. It's so exciting. And like you say, there's a high level of journalistic integrity there. We don't accept any sort of freebies from the restaurants that are reviewed. The restaurants don't know that they're going to be reviewed. And I'm told that she wears a Groucho Marx mask when she go in, so no one knows it's her.
Nobody will be able to tell that at all.
Really incognito. Could you imagine a reviewer going to a restaurant with a Groucho Marx? I would be all over that. If that ever happened to a restaurant I owned, I would be a little bit suspicious. At any rate, these launch on Thursday. So in order to see these reviews, you got to do a couple of things. You have a couple choices. One, you could sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. But the newsletter is super easy. Just go to news@growomaha.com. and put newsletter in the subject line. Will automatically add you. Or you can go to growomaha.com, sign up for it there. The other thing is, like we said, there's going to be a Grow Omaha Eats page, EATS, Eats page on the navigation bar of the Grow Omaha website, and the reviews with photographs will all appear there as well.
It's free, it's easy, and everybody's doing it. We have over 11,000 people now that are on the mailing list for Grow Omaha Eats.
So after that exciting bit of news, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage, they know mortgages. They've known mortgages for more than 30 years, and they'll help you with your conventional FHA or VA mortgages. And so, this is the spring season. A lot of people are buying houses. If you are thinking about buying a house within the next several months, talk to Eagle Mortgage, get that pre-approval letter, and then you can go into the home buying extravaganza with the right type of ammunition in the pocket, if you will. So go to eaglemortgagecompany.com, or you can find them in person at 114th and Davenport. All right, let's get into the news. Trenton, the first one is we've got a press release from Nebraska Multi-Sports Complex saying that, yes, officially the complex in La Vista in the Southport East area is going to open this fall. Phase one of the project includes 12 fields that will be home to several sports. They're all turf lighted multi-purpose fields, things like soccer, baseball, fast pitch, softball, lacrosse, flag football, and rugby. I don't know why just flag football, but that's what they've got. And so it says the facility will host national and regional tournaments and competitions. This will attract out-of-state teams and their fans and their parents, so big economic development boost for the metro area. Several of the fields will be ready for athletic competition this fall. All 12 fields will be ready in the spring of 2023. Get a load of this. This complex with the first 12 fields is forecast to have an annual economic impact of almost $10 million with $401,000 of local sales and lodging taxes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been involved with this land and this project for probably 8 years, and I sold this on behalf of the McDermott family, I think almost 7 years ago. Michael Castling and his team at Nebraska Multi-Sports Complex, they've taken the risk all along. They've got a ton of money into this thing. They've got some great sponsors. I'm told that there's going to be a naming sponsor. I don't know who it is, but kudos also to Mayor Doug Kindig of La Vista, his staff, and all the stakeholders. This is right next to the Southport East area, which I've sold a ton of land, done a ton of projects. I know of at least 3 more hotels coming into this Southport area. I think La Vista is going to have over 50% of the hotel rooms in Sarpy County when this thing is within the next year. And you're going to have Smash Park across the street over by Cabela's, which is a 25,000 square feet on 3 acres that has pickleball and bars and restaurants, all kinds of family entertainment type stuff. So Southport is really getting going again and continues to go. And then I still have a couple acres of land for sale. So if anybody wants to be part of the action right across from the multi-sports complex, call Trenton.
Well, it's a good thing those 3 hotels that you are hearing about are thinking about being developed in that area, because the complex is expected to draw more than 32,000 overnight visitors per year. That's a lot of hotel nights, especially when you consider that a lot of those limited service hotels in that area probably only have about 150 to 200 some rooms. So you're gonna need a lot of rooms in that area.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of restaurants. There's Jimmy John's is right there. You've got Beyond Golf right there. You've got Houston's bar there. Parents will have plenty of things to do when they drop off their kids for practices and games.
Well, let's keep it in.
They don't want to watch the games.
That's a good point. Let's keep it in Sarpy County for right now. A groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for June 28th, about a month from now, exactly a month from now, at the Tower District. This is a 73-acre mixed-use development on the northwest corner of 84th and Highway 370 in Papillion. It's right about a mile south of downtown Papillion. Why do they call it the Tower District? Because it's in the shadow of Papillion's iconic water tower. And this is going to be one of these walkable urban-style neighborhoods, might feel like a city within a city. Cool development. Probably going to take a lot of time because it's not easy to create a walkable urban-style district out of a cornfield, which is what it has been lately.
And it's not flat. I believe this is a Calabretto building group. Jesse Calabretto and his team are going to develop this site, and it's right across from the new Tommy's Express Car Wash, which is also open, also a Storage Mart. There's a McDonald's next door, and this is really state and Maine and Sarpy County.
Yeah, exciting to keep an eye on that. Looks like really high-quality stuff, really attractive development. All right, well, Trenton, when you and I were in high school, which was starting to be a long time ago now, when we were in high school, the original Top Gun came out. Yeah, that gives you an idea about how long ago it was. Anyway, when we were in high school, there was a hot new development that was the talk of the town and had the restaurants and retailers that everyone...
Regency. No, just kidding.
That was the 70s, before we were in high school. And it was the talk of the town, and everyone wanted to go there. It was called Miracle Hills. Well, in recent years, the west side of Miracle Hills, west side of 114th Street, has become, well, an eyesore.
Desolate.
And but major renovations are underway to fix that. I drove by the site just in the last couple of days, and it looks like that 137,000 square foot retail center there on the west side of 114th has all sorts of construction going on. A whole new facade is going to go in front of the building. The rendering on the sign looks great. There's a lot of construction. A lot of the vertical supports for the new facade have been installed. And we haven't heard anything about tenants other than that there's going to be a Nebraska Medicine UNMC type facility in part of the old Bag and Save grocery store that was on the far north end.
I don't believe that's open to the public. It's more of like breaking bulk and putting together prescriptions and everything for their clinics and their hospitals and things like that. So that's not the most exciting thing. There were plans early on a few years ago to kind of match the First National building there, 8 stories. And you can imagine how cool it'd be indoor-outdoor restaurants and progressive living and hotels and restaurants and really true mixed-use type stuff. It's been obviously greatly scaled down and repurposing the existing building, which is fine. Anything's better than what they have here now. And it's really been a long time coming. I think that Indian restaurant is still open. There might be one other.
I'm not sure if that one is. Maybe it is, but Cilantros is still open.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. Right. It's not the Taj.
Yes.
So hopefully it'll go. I think it's a FedEx building that's going in front. Is that right?
Yeah, that is in
new building,
a pad site that was never built on, immediately north of the dead Boston Market. That's going to be a FedEx office location.
Our former company, World Group, we were there for a long time on that corner in that freestanding building.
Yeah, a little 10,000 square foot office building right where 114th Street curves into Miracle Hills Drive. And I believe that is still being used as an office. I have no idea what company's in there, but I believe that's still being used as an office.
We still have our 4,000-pound safe in there. It was the Exarban Parimutuel safe for the racetrack, and it's about $1,000 to move. There's one company in town that'll move it, and we haven't moved it yet.
Folks, I will never forget the night many years ago. I was sitting at home and I get this call from my friend Trenton that says, "You'll never guess what? What? I bought a safe." Cool. He said it's 4,000 pounds, and it was the safe that was used for all the money that they collected back when Exarban was a racetrack. And Trenton was so excited until he figured out he had to pay to move the thing.
They literally had to take off the door at 780 North 114th Street, and it was, and we had to move it from across the street one time, and it's 79 inches tall. The lady who showed me how to open it, her name was Leslie Douglas, and she was the parimutuel manager there, and she told me this story about it was an inside job. A couple people within Exarban staged it, and they stole like a $280,000 out of the safe at night point of one of the employees. Yeah, they didn't get very far.
All I know is that the cost of moving it was a hell of a lot more than what you paid for it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. It is really cool, though, by the way. Okay, let's see what else is next on the docket. Construction, barricades, and fencing are in place for a major project in the Blackstone district. We've talked about this a while when it was first announced last year, but now it's getting started. This is going to be a 9-story building, primarily residential, although there will be some commercial retail space on the ground floor. It's on what has been a surface parking lot immediately west of the Kempton Cottonwood Hotel in Blackstone. There is a former large house that had been converted into apartments many, many years ago that's coming down, but the barricades are around, and so we should see some interesting progress on that soon. Also, as part of that project, the city of Omaha will have a parking garage fused in it that can be used for both the building occupants and, I believe, people who are coming to visit the businesses in Blackstone.
And later in the show, we got breaking news about the Switch Food Hall.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. And then the last thing we have for news of the week, a very cool mixed-use project planned for North Saddle Creek Road. So we're going to have to ask you to close your eyes and do some imagining. So picture Saddle Creek Road kind of turns into Northwest Radial Highway as you're heading north a ways from the Med Center. But there's a little branch off to the northwest that works its way up to a peanut-shaped roundabout. Well, that little branch off is technically still Saddle Creek Road.
That was peanut, ladies and gentlemen.
Plans call for that to be vacated, and that space, along with the former Wolfson used car lot, will become a 5-story mixed-use building with 160 apartment units and 7,100 square feet of retail commercial space. But the plan is for that stretch from Northwest Radial all the way up to the roundabout Peanut to become an overall commercial walkable district. There might even be a business improvement district, but this is a great move for that area, which I've always thought had a lot of potential, but seemed to be very underutilized, underdeveloped. And one would presume this is probably more momentum coming out of what's happening and going to be happening at the nearby Med Center.
That sounds amazing, and that area definitely will sustain it.
And that's your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. You can find them also in person at 114th and Davenport. Going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to bring on restaurant consultant and expert Rich Barmettler, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of restaurant news, new businesses coming, what the restaurant environment is like right now. Going to be a very interesting conversation, so don't miss any of it. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals along with Trenton Magid, broadcasting from KFAB studios in Dundee. This is Grow Omaha. We're brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. I tell you what, if you need to get any body work done or mechanical work done on your car, you definitely want to go to Dingman's Collision Center. They have 4 locations around the metro area. All 4 of them are great. I know I've used Dingman's many times over the years. So has Trenton. We personally recommend them. They do an outstanding job, and they'll take good care of you and really communicate well with you throughout the repair process. And so, like we said, Dingman's Collision Center, 4 locations across the area. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the restaurant world, and we have brought in an expert restaurant consultant. His name is Rich Barmettler. Been on the show before. Rich, welcome back.
Well, thank you. I can hear myself real well in this.
Yeah, it's a weird sensation, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome back. And first of all, give us a little overview of the type of work you do consulting with restaurants.
Well, yes, and thank you for having me on again. I purposely had cigars and some bourbon last night so my radio voice would come out this morning.
You got it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wait a minute. Don't you have cigars and bourbon every night?
No, not quite. So
everybody prepares for radio differently.
Yeah. So the business is called Barmettler Consulting Group, or BCG. I do have a secondary service or company that I'm launching called Restaurant Creations that will be a little bit more on the larger scale virtual side, but I can get into that later. But BCG has been around for 15 years, and we create and launch custom restaurant concepts and bar concepts. And what that means is taking a name on a napkin to a livable, breathable, viable, sustainable business that can be around for years and years to come. Custom in the sense that it's with any restaurant or with any bar, with the foundation that I put in place, we have certain systems and processes and things that really need to be in any kind of business. But then we custom make it to the flair, the look, the menu, we'll call it the passion, the mission, or I call it the magic, and what makes it different than any other restaurant or bar concept.
So the way I understand it, and I've known you a long time, is whether an existing restaurateur just wants help with the wine selection or design or something simple, it's kind of an a la carte thing, or you can like ground up. And I remember introducing you to Story's Coffee on 114th and Dodge, and someone was opening up a new location, and I felt very comfortable connecting you two in order to use your expertise, because everybody wants to own a restaurant or thinks they want to own a restaurant or buy a restaurant, and it's definitely not for everybody.
That is correct. And when we work with brand new concepts, as in it's never been around, people want to get into the business, or they have really good experience at different facets of the business and they want to get into it. We work with them on when I call it the creation side, is we start with a feasibility study, discovery session actually initially, just to have a conversation and see where they are. Feasibility study to see if it makes sense to even do it. And then if it doesn't, where can we modify it that it would make sense? And hopefully it gets to a point where it does make sense. And that's, when I say make sense, that's in my mind and with how I qualify to get somebody to a sustainable type concept. And then we work with them and create everything. But Trenton, to your point, like Dan over at Stories, you introduced me to them, and they already had construction going. And that's one facet that I do want to emphasize is that we can come in at any stage of the game to help people get opened or create whatever they need to or get over the hurdle that they're in, especially when it comes to the city. Restaurant rescue. A lot of people say, oh, you're like bar rescue. And I say, well, Taffert's a wonderful consultant, but that's made for TV.
That's not the way it really works.
If you have cameras following me, it's not going to be that sexy.
You can't do it that fast?
I can't do it within 38 minutes. So, but anyway, so we can come in at any time of the project or on the front side to work with people on creating a concept and getting it launched. Again, I emphasize the feasibility being very important. That's even before we get to the business plan and getting into financing and site location and lease negotiations and so forth. And I have found over the last 10 years that's been critically important because there have been concepts that we worked with that weren't going to make it. And we could not even modify it or edit it or whatever the case is. So I would have to step away from that project because it just, in my mind, it was just not going to work. And also, we go in with existing businesses that are up and running, and I've had quite a few in the Omaha area. We have some outside the Omaha area that we work with, and that's everything from menu development, from hiring. Obviously, right now, a lot of it's employment, and everything and anything in between. Sometimes it's a refurbish or a remodel. Sometimes they want to rebrand. Most times they just want to drive more money to the bottom line, and that's where I have a lot of expertise in setting up their operations so we get to that profitability quicker and larger. And I will say the one facet that I've stepped away from are the full rescues. And obviously during COVID, there were a tremendous amount of opportunities. But the point being is I'd rather work on the positive energy, and that is of creation and expansion and growth and replication, profitability and so forth, and not so much on the negative energy of trying to pull somebody out of the deep end. I've done it many a time before, and it's been very successful. It's just not where my sweet spot is anymore.
Well, Barmettler Consulting Group has been around for 15 years, but Rich Barmettler, you've been in the restaurant and hospitality business for how long?
Do I really have to say that number? 40 years now. And anyway, it's that's a long history, but let's just say it started off in the chain world, grew up the ladder, with different things, all the way to the director of operations over at Ameristar Casino, that 400 employees, 8 restaurant outlets, and so forth. And got into the independent side, and then took all that skill set and launched my company.
Well, we are going to take our middle of the show break, but when we come back, we're going to actually have Rich share with us some of the openings that are going to be coming for restaurants all over town, downtown, midtown, suburbs, everything. So that's going to be fun. Stay with us for that.
You were
not a microphone.
That's restaurant openings, not employment opportunities, as in openings for jobs, right?
Okay, thank you for the clarification. All right, so with that, we're going to go to our middle of the show break. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid with you. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing, Omaha's premier commercial and residential roofing contractor. It's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight. This is brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is a full-service Omaha-based real estate developer. They do things all over Omaha, but also all over the country as well. And we have to share something new with you. Last week, we talked about one of Noddle Companies' developments at 180th and Dodge, and we referred to it as Monarch. Well, that's what it used to be called.
Like Monarch Park Place or something. It was confusing.
Now it is. We have a name change, and it is called simply Block 180. And it's still going to be a very nice mixed-use development. This is on the southwest corner of 180th and Dodge. And the renderings have changed a little bit from what was originally planned. Originally, there was going to be more office. Now I'm seeing a lot of residential multifamily, a lot of retail, and a little bit of office. Looks like there will be a big box retailer very close to the 180th and Dodge interchange, although phase one will be further toward the west side of that development. So if you're still trying to picture where this all is, can you picture that retail building that has Meatball and First Watch and Foxy Sushi? It's northwest of that. So southwest corner of the interchange, northwest of that. And it looks like, well, leasing is in full swing, and I expect construction will probably start on that pretty soon.
Absolutely. I like to refer to this as a virgin infill site because it's basically been farmed. It's been there. You know, they've got the utilities in and the road in and things like that, but really, this thing has never been developed.
Yeah. It's they don't crops haven't been grown on it for a while, but it's still just grass, and so it'll be nothing has to be torn down. Put it that way to build this. So Block 180 coming soon, southwest corner, 180th and West Dodge Road, and that is your Noddle Development real estate development minute brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. All right, we have Rich Barmettler with us. He is a very respected restaurant consultant based here in Omaha. And Rich, everyone wants to know, what are some places that are opening, and maybe some that you're working on, or even some that you're not working on?
Well, I wanted to start with Trenton. You said that safe that was at your office was how tall?
79 inches.
Well, 1 inch shorter is how tall I am.
He's a tall guy,
but a few pounds less than what that safe is.
Yeah.
So we
wouldn't want to move either one of you.
So we have a lot of restaurants opening in the area, and I will say that this is the biggest growth of restaurants that I've seen, me personally, in this area in any short period of time. And next week we're going to have another list, probably about the same size of what's going on. It's just amazing.
So sorry to interrupt. The restaurant food costs are up. Rents are still healthy.
Labor.
There's labor is the toughest it's been. Why is there so many restaurants?
Well, there's the inventory. There's never been this much inventory, and meaning that so many restaurants, unfortunately, have gone out. So the opportunity is there. Money is still very available. The government relief has provided people with some money to be able to do it. So there's contributing factors. Put it this way: there's a lot more people getting into the business that have always wanted to get into it, and now there's more opportunity because of the inventory that's on there. So two things I want to touch on, and one is some of the openings, and then just a few of the concepts I'm working with. But we have openings going on all over the Omaha and even further out area. Capital District has a sports bar coming in called Let It Fly. The Texas Day Brazil has been announced. That's going in. Countryside is pretty exciting. We have Koji, Rooted Table, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, and Moots Pizza. Ralston area, of course, have you gentlemen been out to the Granary?
Drove by it about 2 weeks ago. It looked great.
You need to go through it. It's amazing. And they're going to have a world-class sound stage outside for large concerts. Very cool. West Omaha is really popping. McAllister's on 125th and Center that closed. The El Vallarta's coming in there. Julio's, of course, we've heard about. By the way, Mark Pogge, shout out to him. Fantastic guy. He's the one that's helping run that. Sticky's Garage is replacing Joe's Crab Shack. And then Regency Landing, of course, all those restaurants are popping in here that we've been hearing about. Further out northwest, you have, northwest. Nick Bartholomew announced his B&G concept coming to the 90th and Ford area. El Muchacho Authentico, 72nd and Sorensen. And then southwest is where an explosion is going with everything. We've talked about the Papillion area and so forth. Smash Park, Good Life is going out in Gretna. Dan Lautzenheiser with his fantastic concept called Stories Coffee. He's going out there next to it. Noli's is going out there. Blend is going to 107th and Q. This one was born out of COVID, if you will, the need or the demand from COVID. And it's basically like ghost kitchens. They'll do a lot of delivery, drive-through. I don't believe there's any seating or very minimal seating there.
Is it coffee? Is that what you said?
I'm sorry. It's 3 different concepts.
The Hodges, and the idea Hodges is the family, right? Dean Hodges.
And the blend is the different concepts blending together.
Okay.
Yep. Cops which I think you guys have talked quite a bit about Kops, and I believe the name is now just Kops, not Kops Pizza. Okay. And they're going into that Applebee's out there.
Yeah, I think they're expanding the menu with steak and all kinds of stuff.
180th and Center.
Yep. The steakhouse is going in Ashland. I somehow dropped the name, but meaning lost the name, but there is a steakhouse going out in the Ashland area. And then Elkhorn, Dave Link, who's a fantastic brewer at Site 1. That whole team is opening up a brewery out there, not far from Jukes, which I got to be part of that.
Cool place.
And they're going to have a breakfast restaurant. That second line is not confirmed, so I won't say what that is. That'll be a tease for another one. And then,
so in other words, something else coming to Elkhorn.
Yeah, there is a speakeasy coming in, but I can't say where.
Okay.
And I think Omaha is severely underserved for speakeasies, so hopefully we start seeing some more come in. And then Main Street Cellars is already up and existing, but they're adding their rooftop deck. In fact, you'll be able to see the back of Jukes from their rooftop.
So let's hear about some of the restaurants that are starting up that you're working on in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the most exciting ones, I have a lot of exciting projects I'm working with, but one of the ones that are unique to me is Destiny Cafe. We are locking in a location, but I can't announce where that is. But the concept is a 501c3 nonprofit concept that hires, trains, and employs adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities.
Very cool.
And this has been a fantastic journey. Joan Allen is coordinating everything. I'm creating the concept for her. And Deb Skinner, if you know that name, she's the person that's helping raise the capital, funding and so forth like that. Very, very cool concept. You'll hear a lot about it in the near future. Rooted Table Cafe, I can't really talk about that location either because we're working on finishing up the lease.
But that's
a plant-based restaurant.
Okay.
Vegan and vegetarian. Very, very great people. CJ and Cindy Gunsel are the owners, and they've been entrusting with me to come in and help create them that concept with them. The Atomic Building Group out of Lincoln is we're working on some micro kitchens, some micro restaurants, and possibly something like the Blend Hall, what they're doing. There's a brewing company that's going to have pickleball also, and we're working on their real estate right now. Unfortunately, I can't tell you where that is yet either, but that's going to be 10 to 11,000 square foot building with 4 pickleball courts, 2 inside, 2 outside.
And by the way, sized.
Pickleball is becoming very popular.
Yeah, it's like car washes now.
Yeah, they just announced West Point or West Shores. They have pickleball going out there. There's some out at Stone Creek area, and they're growing. And then there's an entertainment business downtown I'm working with.
Okay.
And out of state, I have several clients that are existing businesses that we're working with, but probably the most unique and exciting one is Club Yoka in Louisville, Kentucky. It's 10,000 square feet, sports bar first floor, Ultra Club on the second floor, and a exclusive bourbon room on the third floor with an outdoor cigar bar.
Now, just less than a minute left, Rich, but you had mentioned you might be doing something with a restaurant in that Saddle Creek area that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I've just been in conversations with the developer in there, and we'll just call that future talk right now.
Okay, so that whole area could be something cool coming in.
Oh yeah,
space.
there's some big
employees
plans
coming in there. Yeah,
there's some big plans, and there's a lot of employment opportunity that's coming not only with the restaurants I'm working with, but this really large surge of restaurants that are opening.
Okay. Well, Rich, we really appreciate you joining us. It's interesting just to talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to new restaurants and restaurant development. So thank you so much. And we appreciate all the insight.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. That's Rich Barmettler, local restaurant consultant who helps restaurants, both new and existing, to succeed and do well. Going to take our last break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha. Brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. It is time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. We recommend Turner Construction here on Grow Omaha for anyone who is looking at doing a development project. Doesn't matter whether it's a small, medium, or a large project. They do all sizes. They do all of those sizes very competitively and very expertly. It's one of the largest construction firms in the world. But here in Omaha, they act like a local contractor, really getting to know people in the community. They've done a lot to help the local economy and help people get started in the building and construction trade. So we thank Turner Construction for being our lightning round sponsor. All right, a couple things that are going on in the world of Grow Omaha. First of all, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter, because we're going to be starting our restaurant reviews with Sarah Baker Hansen next Thursday, June 2nd. Speaking of restaurants, Moran's Grill, which is currently in downtown Papillion, will be moving to 3909 Twin Creek Drive in Bellevue, effective June 2nd. Also, if you want to see some photographs of the progress of Steelhouse Omaha and the Gene Leahy Mall, go to our Facebook page. Trenton, these are Brad Williams photographs. The Steelhouse Omaha exterior looks amazing. In fact, on the north side, right on Capitol Ave, you can actually see the letters going in for the future
Brad did
sign.
a great job on those photos.
So that opens up next year. Central Skate Shop has opened on the northeast corner of 59th and Maple in downtown Benson. It's a skateboarding products and apparel store. And Trenton, big breaking news in the restaurant world again.
Absolutely. We just found out this morning, or last night rather, that as of July 1, Extra Credit Group has announced the plans to purchase and transform the Switch Beer and Food Hall, which is right in the Blackstone, right across from the Climpton Cottonwood Hotel. The Switch, which will officially be rebranded with the name Camp, will open in the fall of 2022 with a whole new lineup of food and drink concepts. Extra Credit Group is run by Michael Sanchez and a few partners, and we look forward to that. He's the guy behind Moolah down the street.
So big changes coming to the Blackstone district. Well, since it debuted last July, the Harney Street Bikeway has seen a 140% increase in bicycle traffic, according to the World Herald. It's a 2-mile stretch that starts in the Old Market and goes to 33rd and Harney. It's protected so that there are 2 little bike lanes that used to be the southern lane of cars for Harney Street. So that looks to be a success, and one would assume that maybe that will probably stick around. And then we have some big-time stars coming to the Gene Leahy Mall. The Gene Leahy Mall opens for business on July 1st.
So excited.
And Kristen Chenoweth, who is a Broadway actress, she was the original Glinda in Wicked. She's going to perform on July 1st. Country music star Brett Eldridge will perform the evening of July 2nd. They also have shows planned by UNO theater production. The Omaha Symphony is going to be there on 4th of July. So if you've sorry about that. If you've seen the Gene Leahy Mall, you know that there's a band shell, and that's where it's all going to be. Well, the music is playing, which means the Turner Construction Lightning Round and the whole darn show are done for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, as well as Dingman's Collision Center and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.